Hello students, welcome back to your class. Hope all of you are in good health. Let us start again. So, we have been discussing why do we fall ill, chapter 13. We discussed up to means of spread. Microorganisms enter to a healthy person from the infected person by various means like through a direct contact, by air, indirect contact, by food, mosquito or insect bite, by rabid animals, or by sexual contact. The disease causing microbes enter the body through these different means. Where do they go then? The body is very large when compared to the microbes. So, there are many possible places, organs, or tissues where they could go. Do all microbes go to the same tissue or organ, or do they go to the different ones? Different species of microbes seem to have evolved to home in on different parts of the body. In part of this selection, it is connected to their point of entry. If they enter from the air via the nose, they are likely to go to the lungs. This is seen in the bacteria causing tuberculosis. If they enter through the mouth, they can stay in the gut lining like typhoid causing bacteria, or they can go to the liver like the viruses that cause jaundice. But this need not always be the case. An infection like HIV that comes into the body via the sexual organs will spread to lymph nodes all over the body. Malaria causing microbes entering through a mosquito bite will go to the liver and then to the red blood cells. The virus causing Japanese encephalitis or brain fever will similarly enter through a mosquito bite, but it goes on to infect the brain. The signs and symptoms of a disease will thus depend on the tissue or organ which the microbe targets. If the lungs are the targets, then symptoms will be cough and breathlessness. If the liver is targeted, then there will be jaundice. If the brain is target, we will observe headache, vomiting, fits or unconsciousness. We can imagine what the symptoms and signs of an infection will be if we know that what target tissue or organ is and the function that are carried out by this tissue or organ. In addition to this tissue specific effects of infectious disease, there will be other common effects too. Most of these common effects depend on the fact that the body's immune system is activated in response to infection. An active immune system recruits many cells to the affected tissue to kill off the disease causing microbes. This recruitment process is called inflammation. As a part of this process, there are local effects such as swelling and pain, and the general effects such as fever. In some cases, the tissue specificity of the infection leads to very general seeming effects. For example, in HIV infection, the virus goes to the immune system and damages its function. Thus, many of the effects of HIV/AIDS are because of the body can no longer fight off the many minor infections that we face every day. Instead, every small cold can become pneumonia. Similarly, a minor gut infection can produce major diarrhea with blood loss. Ultimately, it is these other infections that kill people suffering from HIV/AIDS. It is also important to remember that the severity of disease manifestations depend on the number of microbes in the body. If the number of microbes is small, the disease manifestations may be minor or unnoticed. But if the number is of the same microbe large, the disease can be severe enough to be life-threatening. The immune system is a major factor that determines the number of microbes surviving in the body. We shall look into this aspect a little later in this chapter. So today we have learnt organ specific and tissue specific manifestations. Thank you, students.